Hello, my friends. My name is Evelyn Joy, and welcome back to my channel. Today, I'm going to be reacting to two different videos. They're very different videos, but they're both on the same theme of understanding autism and how to help my son better. Okay, so my son, Caleb, you can either say he's an autistic toddler, or you can say he's on the autism spectrum. But I've heard some people don't want you to say he has autism. It's a whole thing, the internet. There's certain proper ways of saying things and certain ways that different people say things differently. Anyway, my son's autistic. So I've been researching on the internet how to better understand Caleb's perspective. Hello, Stephanie's watching. I've been researching on the internet how to better understand Caleb's perspective. So something that's extremely helpful for that is YouTube videos from actual autistic people, because they can explain what it's like inside their brain. Why? Autistic people look at the world through a filter that I don't have. So for me to look at my son and expect him to react in the way that I'm reacting, or to try to give him therapies to make him behave like me, that's just not understanding his perspective. So in order to help him, I feel like I need to start off with understanding and finding out more about the perspective of someone whose brain functions differently than mine, in the way that an autistic person does. Then part two is a fantastic video from a mama who is, changing schools. So she's in between insurance coverage. So she's doing therapy at home with her kids. That's similar to me, as I'm waiting to get everything set up to do therapy for my son at the same time as I'm researching different kind of therapies, because some of them have negative things about them that people have said they're horrible, and some people say other ones are awesome. I'm just trying to research and find out, how can I, while I'm in this waiting time trying to figure out the right therapy and all those things, how can I best meet Caleb's needs from home, right? So two different videos, totally different. One of them is an autistic adult actually reacting to memes, and I was watching it this morning. Both of these videos I watched this morning, I was like, this is so helpful. I just want to share this information. So this video is not going to be monetized because I'm reacting to some other videos. They're not mine. But I thought that this was such helpful information. I wanted to shout out these two channels because I felt like they're very helpful. So the first one is Indie Andy. Indie Andy is an autistic adult, so he can help me to better understand the perspective of my son, right? So this was so eye-opening for me, and I'll show you why. Let's go.
It is that time again where I show you some autism memes. Are you ready? Here we go. Well, hello there, how you doing? Hope you're doing well, and in today's autism meme review, I'm going to be showing you some more autism memes that are about sensitivities that autistic people may experience. But just to let you know, I do upload weekly videos onto this channel about being autistic from my experiences. So if that sounds interesting to you and you want to see more, consider hitting that red subscribe button and that notification bell so you get notified every time I upload a new video. First meme is all to do with tags on clothes. Now, this is a common thing that gets talked about in the autism community quite often. Clothes having tags on the back of the collar or on the side of clothing as well. It's just quite harsh, the material, like the labels on t-shirts, hoodies, things like that. It can be quite annoying for autistic people. And to be perfectly honest with you, it's not even the labels that are on the back of the collar that annoy me personally. It's the ones that are on the side. For me personally, I find the labels on the side really annoying because I just feel like they're just irritating and just annoying. And also some shirts, they also include a spare button on the side. It's obviously good to have that spare button, but a nuisance at the same time. And it's sensory hell.
All right, so this is something let me make it smaller. This is something that doesn't come up in my brain very often. If I have an itchy tag or something, I'll just, tuck it in or whatever. But my brain doesn't function like an autistic brain, in that sensory stuff, it's quicker for them to get sensory overload. So one little itchy thing can be sensory hell, like you said. So the meme picture that goes with this is the Iron Giant when he got stuck in the electric wire. So he's getting electrocuted. So this is important for me to understand that little things that I might not even realize overwhelm my son. This is important for me to understand so that I can better understand his perspective. Let's go on to the next one. So all these memes are about sensory. So I'm a visual learner, so it gives me a visual idea. So yeah, let's go.
For most people on the spectrum, and I can just really relate to this meme, quite honestly. I relate to that one, and I hope you can relate to that one as well. Is it something that you have to deal with, tags and, the annoyance of tags on clothing? Let us all know down below. It'd be great to hear from you. Next meme. Now, next meme is all to do with light sensitivity, and this situation.
All right. So this is a picture of like fire going into someone's face on a movie or something. It says when the sun hits the perfect angle and manages to slip through a tiny slot in the blinds. Now, okay, let's talk about this. My son, sometimes when he's in the room with me and there's bright light coming in the window, he will choose that time to go over to a shaded spot, lay down on the floor with his face down on the floor for a minute for himself to be okay. Why? Possibly because that bright light just overwhelmed him and he needs to take what I call a brain break, right? So we're hearing from the perspective of an autistic person and an autistic adult what that is like. Let's hear.
This scenario, I absolutely hate it. But just to talk a little bit more about sensitivity and just light in general, it doesn't have to be just from the sun. Obviously the sun is bright, but also it can be simple things such as it's been raining outside and then the clouds are gone and then the sun's out. So then you've got the sun and then you've got the reflective floor because of the rain. But this...
So that's again, another thing I would never even think of. It's rained, the sun came back out, and so there's a reflection on the ground. I wouldn't think twice about it, but it could be something that really bothers my son. I need to be aware of his heightened sensitivities so I can better understand why is he having a stim right now? Why is he reacting this way? It's not my job to train my son not to stim. It's my job to better understand what's causing my son's sensitivities. Stimming is just a coping mechanism. I don't need to teach him not to stim. All right, let's go.
Scenario I hate with an absolute passion. Literally, I'll be sat down at my normal 9-to-5 office job, because we've got blinds, obviously they open and close. Usually I have them open because I like to see the outside world and think how much I would love to be outside rather than in a stuffy office. Sometimes when the sun's out, it just goes all over the screen. Sometimes when I turn around, it's just in my eyes. Even when I close the blinds slightly, somehow the light manages to get through the blinds, and it's just painful. To be honest.
All right, so this is something else that I want to point out. He said it's painful. So for me, it's just annoying when there's some light in my eyes. Oh, yeah, oh, annoying. But something I keep hearing from autistic adults that have YouTube channels is that, like, when sound gets to a certain pitch, it stops being sound and it just starts being pain, right? So same with light. Light is so bright that it gets painful. So that's why my son stops what he's doing and stims. Other children would throw a tantrum. My son lays down on the floor face down because why? Something has upset him, either a loud sound or a bright light or something else we're about to find out in this video. But this is helping me better become in tune to his needs. For example, my son had his hands over his ears. He wasn't throwing a fit. Nothing I need to correct. He had his hands over his ears. To me, we were driving in the car. To me, I didn't hear anything hardly. The radio was off. There was no TV playing. There was no iPad. There was no honking horn. But his brother had a chip bag and he was crunching down on the chips. And to him, that was like nails on a chalkboard. Again, it's not my job to teach him not to react to what's bothering him. It's my job to understand why that's bothering him or what is causing him pain. If I teach him not to react to pain, that doesn't fix the root of the issue. I need to better understand, okay, so chip bags are a sensitivity. So if we choose to eat chips, maybe we'll pour them in a bowl. I don't know if it was the crunching sound or the crinkling sound, but we can figure that out, and just better meet his needs, right? So let's keep going. Again, light sensitivity. Let's go.
Light and the sensitivity to light is just one of those things that just gets to me personally. So when I saw that meme, literally, I just fell in love with it. I just laughed. It was hilarious. Are you waiting for me? Sorry. We'll just go on to the next meme. Now,
that's a really cool stem too. Playing with things. A lot of times, even autistic adults enjoy playing with fun, textured things and stuff.
Discovered this next meme quite a few months ago, but I've been waiting for the perfect time to show it. This one. Now.
All right, let's look at this. It has a person with basically a hula hoop around them. And it says, when you're tired of people standing too close to you. Now, as a mama, you know, kids are constantly touching me and I'm like, give me some space. So I can understand this. But, you know, this is a heightened sense from people with autism that when they're in crowded areas and people just keep touching them, it can be overwhelming, maybe much more than how I feel it. So if I can feel it as a non-autistic person, how much more can that be heightened for other people that their brain just goes, it just functions different than mine, right? Let's go.
I dislike enclosed spaces generally. Like, if I'm going to a place where I know it's going to be an enclosed space, like I'm going to be brushing up against people and stuff, I can deal with that because I'm going to this place for a purpose. However, I don't like busy places. I don't like people touching me that I don't know, or touching me unnecessarily, like patting me on the shoulder, or, you know, all of that weird stuff. Touch is a sensation that some autistic people just don't like, and I can't really speak for everyone, and I'm not going to. If you have your thoughts about that, let us know down below. For me personally, it's just that idea of, I just like my own personal space. If people get...
All right, so for my son Caleb, talking about not liking touch, my son Caleb hates holding hands, right? So I'm trying to teach him, and sometimes I hold his hand because we are in a place where he has to walk, and it's he can't run into traffic, so it's safer for him to be a little bit uncomfortable with holding hands. But I remember all three of my other children at the age my son's at right now, they loved Ring Around the Rosie. My son will not hold our hands. When all my kids and we hold hands to pray at bedtime. Caleb does not hold our hand because he does not like holding hands. He will not hold our hands. He pulls away, does not like it. So that's important for me to understand that he's feeling it differently than how I feel it. He's experiencing it differently than how I experience it. To me, it's just holding a hand. To him, it's overwhelming. Like, don't hold me down. I don't like that feeling, right? So like I said, in situations like in a parking lot or a driveway, it's important for him to understand sometimes you do have to hold mama's hand, even if you don't like it. But if we're playing Ring Around the Rosie or praying, he doesn't have to hold hands. We're not going to force him if it's not necessary. So it's okay for him to learn to be okay with it, but it's not okay to force it on him a lot. And it's also important for me as his mama to understand how he feels. Also, in crowded areas, Caleb reacts differently than he does. For example, in a crowded, small, closed room, he will try to open the door to get out, to run, to escape. Or he will lay flat down on his face if he can't get out, overwhelmed, right? Or, you know, a minute later, he'll accept it and he'll start playing with toys. So I'm thinking about nursery. That's how he reacts, right? If we're at homeschool co-op in a big open gym with lots of kids, he never lays flat down. I'm trying to like observe when he reacts different ways. He's always in run, 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 run. They call that flight mode, like fight or flight mode. Now toddlers like to run. So I feel like the toddler in him wants to run, but the autistic part of him just keeps going, right? So he enjoys that we chase him, but I have to be careful because he's gone out the door towards the parking lot before. So I have to be careful, like, yeah, you can run around, yeah, we can chase you, but sometimes mama has to keep you safe, you know? So understanding his perspective in those kinds of situations rather than just you're in trouble for behaving the way that you do. You know what I mean? Like it's important to understand how he's feeling, that he's in a big crowded room, so his body wants to run. He's having fun running, but then when I make him sit in his seatbelt in the car seat, like I have in the stroller, like I have to sometimes, oh, he hates it. Oh, he hates being held down. Right. And partly that is toddler and partly that is autistic. So it's important for me to better understand my son. Let's keep going.
Into my space, I kind of want to know why. And quite honestly, if that was acceptable to do in real life, I would probably wear something like that, because literally I just like having my own space, you know, and for people to be in my space, I just don't like it. It's not because I don't like talking to people and interacting with people and stuff like that. It's just I just need space to breathe. So when I saw that meme, I just fell in love with it. It's just me on a stick.
Okay, really quick. I just want to say I thought originally there's no way Caleb could be autistic because autistic people don't like being touched. That's not necessarily true. Caleb loves being held, he loves being cuddled, he loves being tickled, and that's true of a lot of autistic people. But certain things like hand holding can be triggers or things that he doesn't like, right? So just because someone doesn't mind a hug, you know, some autistic people are huggers, especially that pressure can be comforting. They even have weighted vests for toddlers or people with autism that helps provide that comforting sense. When my son lays flat down on a hardwood floor, part of what he's experiencing is that pressure on his tummy that he would get from a weighted vest. So I'm actually looking into getting a weighted vest for him to see if that'll help him feel better and maybe he won't have to sim on the floor as often. But also he's blocking out the light, so maybe that wouldn't help. I'm finding out ways to better meet his needs. Let's go.
A candlestick, a wax stick, pogo stick. I don't know why I'm talking about sticks, so we're just going to wrap this up and go on to the next meme, which is all to do with noise. Now, noise, when there's a lot of noise for me personally, I've talked about this quite a lot on the channel. If you want to know a little bit more about the channel stuff, there's links down below and everything. But literally, when it comes to sound, if I'm conversing with someone, like talking to someone, and there's a little bit of external noise, maybe there's a child crying that they didn't get their magical pony, maybe there's a boyfriend and girlfriend about to break up because he didn't do the dishes one time, I don't know. And for some reason, there's music by Shakira in the background. Whenever can be together. Quite honestly, it's a lot to deal with. I know my dancing is a lot to deal with. I apologize for that. Not really, I kind of enjoyed it. But anyway, noise can be just a lot for autistic people sometimes.
I want to mention this too. So I've changed my style of parenting since figuring out that Caleb is autistic. Because what have I changed? Before, I had the TV on as just background noise most of the day. A lot of times Caleb was in his high chair eating breakfast with the TV on, or he was in the playpen with the TV on while I was teaching a class or whatever. Since realizing Caleb's sensitivities, and he loves the TV, right? He hears the TV, but he has supersonic ears. For example, in the nursery, he's the first one to hear the click of the door before anyone else knows that someone's coming to the door. The nursery workers, the teachers in the class said he has supersonic ears because he knows when someone's about to open the door before anyone else in the room does, right? He notices that, oh, he hears the click of the door's about to open. He starts running for the door before anyone else is aware the door's going to open, right? Just click, oh, to the door. And he also knows how to open the doorknob and get out. It's terrible. Smart boy. But again, autism does not mean not smart. In fact, some are geniuses. Potentially my son. We'll see. But that's neither here nor there. This heightened sensitivity. Let's look at this meme real quick. It says, someone says, There's a pep rally today. Me and my hypersensitivity to noise. So if you've ever been to a high school pep rally, there's marching bands, there's dancing, there's loud noises. Imagine if you have a heightened supersonic ears. So imagine my son who can hear the chip bag when I don't notice it, who can hear the click of the door when no one else does. Imagine him at a pep rally. Okay. So this is giving me ideas of what places I can take my son and he'll find it fun, and what places he'll find torture to his ears, to his supersonic ears. Right. Um, so I was going to give another, oh yeah, about the TV. So what I've chosen to do to better parent Caleb is I'm turning the TV off. Most of the day the TV is off, and I've explained that to my kids. I said, we are going to talk directly to Caleb. Caleb's no longer sitting in his high chair watching a cartoon, eating his breakfast on his own. I now sit face to face with him and I talk to him so he can hear me. Because before, he was hearing the TV and me at the same level. He was not distinguishing out my voice from the TV if I tried to say Caleb, or if I tried to say hi, or eat, or banana. He wasn't hearing that. He was hearing, like all of the noise at once. My voice mixed in with the TV. Even if the TV was a lower volume, it didn't matter because it's all the same level for him. So if I turn the TV off, and I sit down across from him and I say, and I'm doing the baby signs with him more. I do more. I make sure he's looking at my hands more. Then I take his hands and I make him do more. Suddenly he's learning the signs. And I say, banana. He's hearing me now. You see, now I've gotten on his level. Now I'm understanding his perspective. That's why it's important for me to understand his perspective. Because if I just expect him to react like non-autistic children, I can maybe train him to mask his autism. Masking is just pretending. It's like playing pretend like you react, but his brain's still functioning the same way. So wouldn't it be better for me to meet him where he's at and better understand him where he's at? All right, let's keep going because I'm running out of time for this. Let's go.
And for myself, I experience it. When it comes to the senses, obviously sound is quite a big part of it. Not for all autistic people though, and that's something I have to stress. Just because I talk about certain senses does not mean that all autistic people experience those senses. I'm just bringing awareness to them. So yeah, that meme, it's pretty good. Yeah, top quality, top graded beef. Look at that. I found Nemo. Next meme, shall we? Sometimes when you're dealing with different...
Let me read this. It's Mr. Krabs and it says, when you've been bumped by 5 strangers and it's too bright and a phone is ringing and someone says, excuse me. Look at that picture. See, that's why I'm saying I'm visual. This helps me. It's just too much. It's sensory overload. It's too much. This is what sensory overload looks like. Let me read that again. When you've been bumped by 5 strangers and it's too bright and the phone is ringing and someone says, excuse me, it's just too much because he's seeing and hearing everything and taking everything in all at once. It's too much. So that picture is just like brilliant and so perfect to better understand how my son feels in those situations. So if he chooses to stim or wants to run away, I understand why his body wants to run away from that situation because it's too much. It's just too much. And myself as a non-autistic person, sometimes I feel that way if my kids are all touching me and I'm like, mama needs a break. Mama doesn't want to be touched right now. I love you, need a break, right? He feels that to the 10th degree, right? Let's go.
Stimulus or different stimuli, such as light, such as noise, such as just people, just different things happening at once. It can be a lot for autistic people like myself to handle on a day-to-day basis. There's going to be some days where everything's going right and it's all amazing. Sometimes it's just going to be full of bang, 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 bang. So sometimes we might end up being Mr. Krabs. But actually that meme I feel has a little bit more to it. For me personally, sometimes it's all gets a bit too much. Lights are just too bright and all the rest of it. But the thing is, it's okay to say to yourself that it's not my day. It's okay to say, I'm having a bad day, I'm having an off day. Or there's just a situation that is just too much to handle for you right now. It doesn't mean that you won't be able to. Maybe it'll just be a case of trying and trying again. And that's what I try to say. So just keep on trying and just keep on being positive. If you want to see more videos like this, click
All right. I want to say thank you so much, Andy, for helping me better understand my son by making these kinds of videos. The visual meme and then explaining how it feels really helps me because my toddler, he doesn't have the words to tell me how he feels, but it's my job to understand him. The next one is a fantastic mother who is doing some at-home therapy for his son. Now, I wanted to almost cry with some of the things he was saying there at the end because I've seen video footage from the 80s with the kind of therapy that moms would do to their kids or therapists would do to kids to try to force them to look you in the eye. Now, I don't know if it's true, but I've heard that autistic people are taking photos with their brain. When they look you straight in the eyes, their brain is snapping photos, right? Like, so they have a photographic memory. Some autistic people say, I never forget a face. Why? Because their brain has snapped those photos. That's why it feels uncomfortable for them to look you straight in the eye because their brain is taking photos and it's just overload. It's brain overload. That's why my son only momentarily looks me in the eye. So some of these therapies have forced children, rather than understanding their perspective, force them to look you in the eye, make them do it. If they don't look you in the eye, they get punished. If they do look you in the eye, they get a cookie or whatever. Forcing kids not to stim. So stim, like flapping their hands or something, teaching them you have to have quiet hands. So that's teaching them, stop your coping mechanism, pretend like you're someone else, mask how you really feel. Don't react to your emotions. Don't have emotions and pretend like you're a regular neurotypical person. That is not helping them. In fact, a lot of kids that had autistic therapy in the 80s have PTSD and have been diagnosed with PTSD because they were forced to pretend that they were not experiencing. It's torture. They were forced to pretend that their brain works normally while their brain is still functioning the way it always did, right? So it's important for me as a mama to be aware of what's out there. Now there's ABA therapy, and the people who were kids in the 80s who had ABA therapy say, no, 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 don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. The parents who have their kids in ABA therapy are like, wow, it's so wonderful. My kid looks you in the eye now. He doesn't do his stims anymore. He seems like a regular child on the outside, right? And actual therapists say some therapists are good and some are bad. Like I saw one comment that was really helpful. They said, I applied to like 14 different places. About 11 of them were not good how they were doing things. So still the way that they're teaching ABA therapy, it's still not great. But a lot of people have seen a lot of progress and stuff. So it's important for me to educate myself on how I can better meet my son's needs. So I've only got like 2 more minutes for this video. So, because my children have an online class, so I might have to do this in another video. But real quick, this mama was so wonderful. Her video of how she helped her son from home. And this is the kinds of stuff that I want to continue doing and I'm starting to do and I'm continuing to do. So she put at the beginning of her video, surrender to what is, let go of what was, have faith in what will be. Oh, that's sweet.
So we are going to do a little bit of our home therapy because we are in transition with the school system. So I have to supplement my own therapies. Number one, my insurance does not cover ABA therapy. So we're going to do some of our own stuff. The first thing that we want to work on with Timmy is some appropriate play. So I'm going to take the Legos. I also want to do a bunch of fine motor stuff. So I'm going to get the crayons. I think they're in here. Yeah, I'm just going to grab some crayons, and I have a coloring book that we're going to work on too. These are actually just like little rewards. I'm going to bring these with me just in case we need to use these as rewards. Timmy likes those. Same thing with the Play-Doh. Timmy is a fan of Play-Doh as a reward. A lot of tactile stuff for rewards, so we're going to use that as well. What else do we want to do? I'm going to take out some puzzles because these are always a good staple to work on. We'll do colors, we'll do shapes. He knows numbers pretty well, so we'll leave that there. I also want to do some hand-eye coordination and some fine motor. So I will bring out the blocks. You can hear Timmy running in the background. What else should we do? Oh, definitely the books. We're going to try this How Many interactive reading book. It's a good counting book. Flashcards are a definite must. We're going to do some of that. And we're just also going to read through some books as well, get his attention. We will also do some letter identifying, so I'll use the magnetic wooden alphabets for identifying letters. Good question. Don't get upset. I know it's not your favorite. I know. Can you put on? Put on. On. Good saying on. Push. Push. It's okay. I know. Look, push. Push. Timmy. You want to play it out? Okay, push. Push. Good job. Can you do hop, hop, hop? You do hop, hop, hop. Good hop, hop, hop. Put him inside. Good job. Close. Close first. Clean up first. Clean up. You do. Clean up. Good. Cleaning. Put on. Good try. Good job. Here's Play-Doh. Can you open? Open. Say open. Open. Give me. Okay. Give me. Good. Point to Play-Doh. Good point to Play-Doh. Can you say open? Open. Good try. Timmy, clap hands. High five. Arms up. Touch head. Good. Touching head. Touch nose. Good. Touching nose. Do give me. Good. Do all finish. What's all finish? Good job. Good.
All right. So even though she referred to this as ABA therapy, and maybe some of the things that they may do with ABA therapy I don't like, I do like a lot of the things that she owns in her house, in her collection. I'm a little bit like, oh, let me take notes. I need to get some of those things, right? So I want to work with my son in a similar way, just teaching him from home how to do some of those awesome things. As far as, just learning regular preschool stuff that maybe comes more naturally for other preschoolers, but maybe he needs a little bit extra support for. Well, that's all I have time for today, but that's pretty much all I wanted to show you guys. Feel free to comment below. Let me know, are you autistic? Have you worked with autistic people? Are you familiar with different kinds of toys that are helpful for toddlers with autism, right? All right. My kids have to take an online class, so I have to go. All right. Thanks so much for watching. I wanted to pull this out. Stephanie said, I am so glad you are making this video. Never change your child. As parents, we should meet them where they are at. I agree. She said this video will help so many. I hope so. That's my thought, right? Thanks for sharing. Thank you so much, Stephanie. All right. Talk to you later. Bye.